I'm going to do my absolute best not to be too emotional in this commentary because you guys know my favorite football team in the NFL is the Dallas Cowboys, and ironically, this is our second piece of Dallas Cowboys related content that we're getting to you guys today. Before we get to the content, I know gas prices are super expensive. It's literally $7 a gallon here in California. No, I'm serious, it is. But we're giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. We're giving away another $500 to a follower of ours on Instagram. And we post shorter versions of this news onto my TikTok page at Mikerophone NFL. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! So now that COVID is over and events are back, I have a little bit of an event hangover. So personally, I know NFL season's over. I want to go see Excision. Yeah, a little thing you guys might not know about me is I'm a big bass head. I was trying to figure out the best means of getting a fair price ticket to Excision, and without a doubt, the answer to that question is SeatGeek, which is today's video sponsor. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets so simple. I got the app on my phone, and it's fair to say that it's by far the quickest and easiest way to get yourself a cheap ticket. Whether it's concerts, baseball, basketball, football, festivals, and more, SeatGeek puts tickets all over the web in one place to make buying simple. They even have ratings to tell you how good of a deal you're getting. And the best part is, if you want to come see Excision with your boy, which would be a really freaking cool experience, might I add, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you'll get $20 off of these tickets. That's promo code Mikerophone on SeatGeek for $20 off. And thank you, SeatGeek, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, I was warning you guys about this for the past 2 weeks that this might happen. From the very beginning, once the Dallas Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers in that divisional round matchup, Jerry Jones straight up called out Amari Cooper, saying that he was disappointed with Amari Cooper's production. Now, there were these rumors that maybe Dak Prescott wasn't targeting Amari Cooper as much, just so he could coax Amari Cooper into potentially taking a pay cut. But if you ask me, I felt like this past year and the fact that we weren't able to get anything going for the Dallas Cowboys is a combination of poor coaching and poor preparation for their opponents. It seemed like the typical year for the Dallas Cowboys, getting off to a very hot start, and then towards the end, the wheels were falling off of the wagon. And I think what was even more frustrating this past year is I think this is the most complete team that the Dallas Cowboys have ever had. Everything from their offensive coordinator being a hot commodity in the coaching market to their defensive coordinator being resurrected as one of the most brilliant defensive coaching minds in the NFL, to hitting on their first round draft pick in Micah Parsons, to having a remarkable stable of wide receivers, to getting Dak Prescott back and Ezekiel Elliott in shape, to having all of their offensive linemen healthy and ready to go. On paper, I couldn't list many flaws with this team. So when we ended up losing this past year, I think it stung a little bit more than others because I knew our salary cap situation and I knew the writing was on the wall. I knew Ezekiel Elliott got paid way too freaking much. And as a result of overpaying Ezekiel Elliott and of course Dak Prescott's most recent contract, which I can understand paying Dak Prescott the money you did, I knew some changes were going to have to be made. As a result, Amari Cooper originally was supposed to be released because the Dallas Cowboys would have saved $16 million against the salary cap if they were to do it. They put that out there and I guess they were hoping that some team would take the bait and trade for him. And ultimately, it seems like the Cleveland Browns have bid on the potential trade bait because according to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, the Cleveland Browns are going to trade a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick to the Dallas Cowboys to get wide receiver Amari Cooper and a 6th round pick. Now, you might be wondering, Mike, why on earth would the Dallas Cowboys do this? Why would they take back so little in compensation? And the only reason the Dallas Cowboys wanted to trade Amari Cooper at this point is no matter what, they get the same exact cap saving. And yeah, you could say that all they got out of this was a 6th round pick, or net positive a 6th round pick, but this was mainly about being able to determine where Amari Cooper goes. There was a chance that Amari Cooper could have signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, who were desperate for a wide receiver for the past 5 years. There's a chance that he could have signed with the Washington Commanders or another team in the NFC. Typically, when you have a star wide receiver or a star player on your team, the goal is to try to trade him as far away from your team as humanly possible, just so you can stay away from those Steve Smith-like revenge games. So let's break this down. The Dallas Cowboys are in this for one reason and one reason only. It's the same reason that they gave La'el Collins permission earlier today to seek a trade. Yes, this is according to Adam Schefter. The Dallas Cowboys might potentially trade another anchor of their offensive line in addition to this, but I digress. We might have another video on that in this upcoming week. This is all about saving salary cap space for the Dallas Cowboys. You move on from Amari Cooper. He is officially the sacrificial lamb that you gave up so you could pay Ezekiel Elliott the money that he was paid to be the second best halfback on the Dallas Cowboys this past year. And I know he's good at pass blocking and whatnot, but I personally just don't believe in paying running backs the amount that they got paid. And you put yourself in a very comfortable position for the future. Now, ultimately, the dead money isn't going to cripple the Cowboys. They are currently significantly higher up in the salary cap because they also restructured the deal of Zach Martin and Dak Prescott, and they are rumored to be in touch with Bobby Wagner, according to Ed Warder yesterday. Bear in mind, Dan Quinn is their defensive coordinator, who's had some pretty nice memories with Bobby Wagner on the Seattle Seahawks, so that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if the Cowboys did this because they wanted to go after a big fish. Maybe they wanted to improve their defense significantly more. I'm unsure what the long-term plan is because it seems like they have been sellers this offseason so far. But for the Cleveland Browns, they get themselves a remarkable wide receiver, easily a top 5 route runner in the NFL. Some people would even say he's a top 3 route runner in the NFL. I personally am not happy about the Dallas Cowboys trading one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL, but I do understand why they have to do it, unfortunately, even though it's not a good reason in my opinion. For the Cleveland Browns, this is also a team that, bear in mind, has been doing their research into Deshaun Watson, might be interested in trading for Deshaun Watson. So whether this is a situation where you get Amari Cooper just so you could see what you have in Baker Mayfield, if you get yourselves a 6'1" wide receiver who is known for his route running as opposed to the 5'10" wide receiver that Odell Beckham Jr. was, do you think that you'd have that much more success? Ultimately, at the very minimum, this is the best way you could test whether or not Baker Mayfield is your quarterback in the future, because this is a crucial year for Baker Mayfield. Or maybe you're swinging for the fences and you're planning on trading for Deshaun Watson, who the Browns are dark horse contenders to go after, which I wouldn't blame them at all whatsoever. It's more based upon Deshaun Watson wanting to waive his no trade clause for the Cleveland Browns, but that's a little bit more of an extreme scenario in my opinion. This is a big year for Baker Mayfield. He now has David Njoku and Amari Cooper in his wide receiver core. He has Nick Chubb as his running back, and if he doesn't take a huge step forward this year, then this could potentially be his final season as a member of the Cleveland Browns. Honestly, for the Cleveland Browns, this was a no-brainer. I mean, if you give up a 5th round pick to get yourselves a wide receiver who is going on 28 that is still clearly in his prime, that has had 5 1,000+ yard receiving seasons, then you freaking go out and do it. This is such a no-brainer type of trade for the Cleveland Browns. They easily get an A+ for this trade. I think we could all universally agree that Amari Cooper is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL at the very minimum. Whether you're a Cowboys hater or a Cowboys fan, this guy has finished in the top 10 in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns during his entire time with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys gave up a 1st round pick 3 years ago to acquire Amari Cooper, and what's wild is this past week, 2 former players for the Oakland Raiders that John Gruden traded for multiple 1st round picks were traded, and neither of them received any type of value that was remotely close to that in return. There's not much more to analyze here. For the Dallas Cowboys, obviously I'm going to give them an F. Not an F for this trade, but an F F for putting themselves in this bizarre situation, and F for overpaying the wrong individuals and having to trade the right individuals at this point. I'm a huge fan of Ezekiel Elliott. I love Ezekiel Elliott. I love his personality. I think he's entertaining. I watch his Twitch streams, but regardless, I don't think overpaying a halfback in today's NFL has ever paid off. Not a single time. Even this past year, Derrick Henry started to slow down a little bit with injuries. And it's not anything against these star players. It's just the life expectancy for these running backs is very, very short. And ultimately, to keep Ezekiel Elliott and to pay him the amount that you had to pay him, you had to let go of Amari Cooper. I'm hoping that there's some other big move that the Cowboys want to make this offseason. Maybe they felt like, hey, we were really close. If we downgrade our offense a little bit and invest those resources into our defense, maybe we could be a Super Bowl winning team. I don't really know. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this trade, but this is my take on the matter. Maybe there's something you noticed that I didn't notice. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.